Today is the day the richest man comes to take me home. What should I do? I absolutely cannot go back in this lifetime, Zhang Yaxin muttered anxiously, her mind in turmoil. Suddenly, she looked at me and thrust the jade pendant in her hand toward me. Yang Shi, you'll definitely help me, right? You go in my place. I looked at the steamed corn bread that had fallen to the ground with heartache. Picking it up without any hesitation and continuing to stuff it into my mouth, she took a step back, a flicker of disgust flashing in her eyes. Suddenly, bullet comments flashed before my eyes. The supporting female lead doesn't know yet that the female lead has just been reborn, does she? In her previous life, the female lead obediently returned to her wealthy family, but her parents didn't care about her at all. Instead, the fake heiress, who had been groomed as the successor since childhood, was deeply loved by her parents. Back then, the female lead kicked the male lead to the curb to return to her wealthy family. Years later, the male lead brought down the richest family and forced a love story with her. Since we've got a rebirth plot, now we can enjoy the sweet, soft female lead and the rough around the edges male lead living their rental romance. Being so poor that all they have is love is just too sweet. I stared blankly at the words floating before my eyes, quickly zeroing in on the mention of the richest family. Doesn't that mean I can eat steamed buns and fried chicken whenever I want from now on? I excitedly grasped Zhang Yaxin's hand and said, I do. A flicker of doubt flashed through her eyes, but the billionaire's motorcade had already arrived, and without hesitation, she pushed me forward. Rows of sports cars appeared before my eyes, even more extravagant than what I'd seen in TV dramas. Heaven's favor had finally granted me a life of luxury. Zhang Yaxin pinched my arm disdainfully and said, look at your pathetic self. The richest family only has money but no love. They're like freaks who only force you to spend money. Tears instantly streamed down my face, but inside, I was ecstatic. What a niche hobby. Please, force me to spend money mercilessly. The Lin parents, who had just gotten out of the car, saw the jade pendant in my hand and wiped away my tears. When she held me in her arms, I could feel the cool touch of the jewelry worth hundreds of millions on her neck and wrists. Mother Lin took out a card from her bag. You've suffered all these years, there's 10 million in this card, and you're not allowed to come home until you've spent it all. Father Lin then pulled out a stack of transfer agreements. These villas and cars are all yours. From now on, you can do whatever you want. Dad has plenty of money to support you, and you don't even have to work if you don't want to. I joyfully accepted them, still unable to hold back my tears. I'm so jealous. When will my parents ever humiliate me like this? Didn't you see upstairs that the Lin couple didn't even want her to work? They're clearly favoring the fake heiress, pouring all their resources into her. Just wait and see. Once she meets the green tea fake heiress, the supporting female character will behave. Zhang Yaxin leaned in with a smile and said, scared out of your mind, aren't you? Let me tell you, even if you want to regret it now, it's too late. I bowed gratefully to her, then followed my parents into the stretch Lincoln. The car was filled with various high-end snacks, which I stuffed into my mouth by the handful. The supporting female character really lacks sophistication. Back then, the female lead didn't eat a single bite to save face, yet she was still compared to Lin Ziyu by Mr. and Mrs. Lin. Sure enough, after I devoured 30 pieces of pastry, Mother Lin couldn't bear to watch any longer. Her eyes filled with disdain. Yang Shi, girls shouldn't eat so vulgarly. It's clear you didn't grow up by my side. You're nothing like Ziyu. The barrage comments were all waiting to see me make a fool of myself. I pinched my thigh hard, forcing out tears. Mom, I haven't eaten anything for 3 days. I was just too hungry to control myself. I promise I'll study hard with Sister Ziyu from now on. Please don't drive me away. Father Lin's eyes were red as he suppressed his disgust and patted my head. Poor child, you've suffered. No one can drive you away from the Lin family. Mother Lin guiltily took off her jade bracelet and put it on my wrist. Oh my God, this bracelet was Mother Lin's dowry. In the previous life, the female lead tried every means but never got it. The supporting female character is truly shameless. Unlike the female lead who never accepts handouts, Zhang Yaxin and I grew up in the same orphanage. She's fresh and elegant, while I'm gluttonous and lazy. One shouldn't abandon money just for the sake of pride. The car drove into a 1,000-acre estate. The moment the door opened, I knew my future would shine As bright as gold, the fake heiress Lin Ziyu was dragging her luggage, preparing to leave. Mother Lin hugged her. Ziyu, you can't go. How will I live if you leave? Father Lin held her back. Ziyu, we raised you with our own hands. No matter who comes, they won't replace you. Lin Ziyu frowned and pushed her away, saying, who said I was leaving? There's a project that requires a business trip. Having one more person at home just means an extra pair of chopsticks. I won't drive her away. The barrage of comments floated before my eyes again. This is outright humiliation. In her past life, the female lead caused such a scene that she was confined for a week. With the female supporting character's IQ, I bet she'll be thrown out within 5 minutes. Seeing that I remained silent, Father Lin said impatiently, Ziyu is the heir we've meticulously groomed for the Lin family. This won't change no matter who comes. If you're not satisfied, I immediately linked arms with her and nodded. Obediently, Ziyu Jia has always been part of the Lin family. We've always been twins. It's just that my health was poor, so I was sent to the countryside for recovery, and only recently brought back. As soon as these words were spoken, Father and Mother Lin's gazes toward me softened with another layer of pity, and before leaving they slipped me 2 black cards. My heart blossomed with joy. Lin Ziyu led me into a room. The entire room was pink, with teddy bears covering the bed and desk. The walk-in closet was filled with elegant dresses fit for a wealthy young lady. The vanity table was also piled with jewelry that looked undeniably expensive. Lin Ziyu crossed her arms and leaned against the doorframe. My room is twice the size of yours. These jewelry pieces are all things I don't want anymore. And those clothes aren't even the latest Fashion Week releases. This was the moment. In her past life, the female lead completely lost her temper and smashed everything in the room to pieces, leaving Lin's parents utterly disappointed. To be honest, the fake heiress didn't have any ill intentions. She was just at Sundara. All these items were specially ordered. She just didn't want to admit it to the supporting female character. How can anyone sympathize with someone who stole another's place? If it weren't for the fake heiress, the female lead wouldn't have been left adrift for 20 years. I covered my mouth and sobbed aloud. Lin Ziyu panicked immediately. Crying won't help. Mom and Dad just love me more. If you really don't like it, I can always have someone redecorate it, but your room absolutely cannot be bigger than mine. Yet I hugged her tightly, moved to tears, burying my head in her neck. Sister, you're so good to me. I've never lived in such a nice house before. I love everything here so much. Lin Ziyu pushed me away disdainfully, but her ears turned slightly red. Clearing her throat, she said haughtily, since you like these worthless jewels, I've got plenty more in my room. Consider it clearing out the trash. Take them all if you want. With that, the butler brought over an entire chest of emeralds and diamonds, leaving me utterly dazzled. At night, I lay on my 3-meter-wide bed, which was piled high with jewelry and beautiful little dresses. I was also eating cherries airlifted from Chile. Just as I was enjoying myself, Zhang Yashin's phone call came through. Prepare 1 million for me. Meet at the cafe tomorrow afternoon. Inside the cafe, Zhang Yashin walked in with her boyfriend. Without any courtesy, she reached out to take my card and sneered, didn't sleep all night yesterday, did you? The Lin family favors Lin Ziyu, and Lin Ziyu is a psycho. Must be tough living in that house. I looked in the mirror and realized the dark circles under my eyes were indeed terrifyingly heavy. Bullet comments. The supporting female character wasn't scared at all. Yesterday, she excitedly tried on every single dress and stayed up all night shopping online, spending 3 million yuan. The supporting female character is too petty. If the Lin family found out, they would definitely look down on her. In her past life, the female lead's baby didn't touch a single penny from the card. Zhang Yashin, afraid I might change my mind, quickly added, it's too late for regrets now. The Lin family, a place that devours people without spitting out bones, is all yours to enjoy. I'm off to pursue love with my husband. I looked at Wang Yang and couldn't help but frown. Wang Yang was covered in sweat and had dark skin. He had also ordered a large table full of desserts and was now devouring them with great focus. Back when Zhang Yashin got together with him, I strongly opposed it, but instead, I was accused of trying to steal her away. After that, I stopped interfering altogether. Great, with this 1 million, the male lead can start his business even sooner. Then he'll be able to thoroughly humiliate the Lin family, become the new richest man, and finally get together with the female lead. I smiled. How could I let some poor guy ruin the happiness I'd worked so hard to achieve? For the next 5 years, I kept tabs on the two of them. At first, their business venture went smoothly, and they made a small profit, but Zhang Yaxin had lived the life of a pampered young lady in her past life. She insisted on only the finest clothes, food, and luxuries. Wang Yang expressed dissatisfaction many times, which often led to arguments between them. Wang Yang had a natural inclination for gambling, but he restrained himself significantly after getting together with Zhang Yaxin. After every argument, he would indulge in gambling. Having tasted success a few times, he became addicted and couldn't extricate himself. In less than 3 years, 1,000,000 yuan was squandered away. For these 5 years, Zhang Yaxin tried to contact me, but as long as I didn't want to, with her status, she would never see me again in this lifetime. Over the 5 years, I figured out the preferences of Lin's parents, and Lin Ziyu was so charmed by me that he couldn't tell north from south. Soon, I entered the group and became the company's second-in-command. That day, the orphanage called, asking me to attend the director's funeral. I agreed. Only after arriving did I realize that not a single person had come around me. Suddenly, a familiar voice interrupted my train of thought. Yang Shi, it's really not easy to see you. How much longer are you going to keep pretending to be me? Turning around, I almost didn't recognize her. Zhang Yaxin's face was sallow, her once delicate features now worn with exhaustion. She rushed at me like a madwoman, grabbing my throat and screaming, "Was it you who's been sabotaging me all these years? That's why I haven't even caught a glimpse of the Lin family." Her grip tightened further. "This wasn't how it was supposed to be. Why do you get to stay safely with the Lins? Why didn't they throw you out and humiliate you?" I used all my strength to beat at her hands, but it was no use. Wang Yang slapped her across the face. "You bitch, now is not the time for your tantrums." I sat on the ground, gasping for breath. The long-absent barrage of comments scrolled wildly. "The character collapse is too severe. Give back our aloof and cold female lead. Give back our loyal rough and tough male lead. The supporting female character is so pitiful." Back then, it was clearly the female lead who actively proposed switching identities with her, and now that she's unwilling, she's forcing her to switch back. I calmly slipped my hand into my pocket, feeling the dagger I always carried with me. Zhang Yaxin sneered. "Yang Shi, you're still as foolish as ever. The dean's funeral was fake. How else could we lure you here to switch back identities?" I spoke coolly. "What makes you think the Lin family would recognize you after all these years? You're fake. Lin Ziyu is even faker, and I'm the only bloodline of the Lin family. No one would abandon their own flesh and blood." Then she turned to Wang Yang and ordered, "Hurry up and tie her down. As long as she dies, I'll definitely be the heiress of the richest family." Wang Yang cornered me against the wall, but I seized the moment and slashed his palm with a knife, taking advantage of his pain. I desperately ran outside. I hadn't run far before being stopped by a burly man outside. Zhang Yaxin grabbed my hair and rained countless slaps upon me. "Bitch, still daring to run, I'll kill you right now." The barrage of comments kept flooding the screen. "The female lead is terrifying. Is she really planning to kill someone?" The female lead intends to stage a fire scene. When the Lin family discovers the body of the supporting female character, she will step forward crying, claiming that the supporting female stole her identity. This way, she can rightfully return to the Lin family. Wang Yang also furiously swung the wooden stick in his hand at me. Enduring the pain, I could only protect my head to avoid further injury, but in the end, they worked together to tie me up. Zhang Yaxin poured a bucket of oil over me, cursing wildly. "Yang Shi, go to hell." I watched as the lighter came closer and closer, closing my eyes in despair. Suddenly, a crowd of people stood at the door, and Lin Ziyu stepped out of the car gracefully. "Lin Shi, you're utterly useless. I thought you'd handle this properly." Taking advantage of Zhang Yaxin's momentary distraction, I mustered my last ounce of strength to knock her down. I desperately ran towards Lin Ziyu. Zhang Yaxin chased after me furiously but was stopped by security. Lin Ziyu gave me a disdainful glance before taking off his coat and draping it over my shoulders. "I'm not helping you. I just can't stand seeing someone associated with me being bullied by others." Zhang Yaxin struggled and roared angrily. "Lin Ziyu, you imposter. If it weren't for you people, I wouldn't have ended up like this. The wealthy life should have been mine, and the Lin group should have been mine too, Lin. Ziyu didn't indulge her at all, slapping her across the face. With your level of intelligence, even if our parents had another child, they wouldn't raise you. Zhang Yaxin screamed curses. Just you wait, when mom and dad learn the truth, they'll definitely kick you out. I'm the true heiress of the Lin family. In the car, Lin Ziyu rested with her eyes closed. I observed her carefully. Within my first month at the Lin family, I understood why Mr. and Mrs. Lin favored her, bold yet meticulous, and ambitious. Rather than saying she couldn't do without the Lin family, it would be more accurate to say the Lin family couldn't do without her. She suddenly opened her eyes and looked at me calmly. I had someone investigate you the first day you were brought home. I don't care about the truth, as long as you're not a bad person. Lin Shi, you're a smart person. After a moment of thought, she spoke slowly. The Lin family will hold a recognition banquet for you in a week, as long as nothing goes wrong. You'll be the only second miss of the Lin family. I've sent Zhang Yaxin away, at least for half a month. I breathed a slight sigh of relief. Actually, when I found out Zhang Yaxin was secretly approaching Lin's parents, I had already prepared to make a run for it. But now that there's still a chance, it's not impossible to stay. A week later at the Lin family estate, I made a slow entrance wearing a white gown. Everyone cast envious glances my way as I stood obediently by, waiting for the ceremony. Su Zheng looked me up and down, then sneered as he moved closer. Finally made it. Huh, got the Lin family's approval at last. Must have done plenty of shady deals behind the scenes, right? Su Zheng was notorious in their circle as a playboy, never seen with the same girlfriend for more than a week. When I first returned to the Lin family, he bet with his friends that he could win over this country bumpkin within a month. Each time I firmly rejected him, until he finally lost face in front of his so-called friends, throwing harsh words in the circle, declaring irreconcilable differences with me. I don't plan to pay them any attention, but Su Zheng leaned right into my ear and said, "You're quite convincing for a fake. I wonder if you'll stay this calm when the truth comes out." The barrage of comments started rolling in. The devoted male supporting character has appeared. The female lead's halo is too strong. She just cries randomly on the street, and the male supporting character falls in love with her. Under the female lead's instigation, the male supporting character believes the female supporting character unscrupulously stole the female lead's identity. The female lead had long been hiding among the waitstaff, waiting for the Lin family to announce the female supporting character's identity so she could publicly humiliate her. It feels like the female supporting character is the only sane person in the entire book. Author, come out and take responsibility. Before I could react, the Lin family on stage was already calling for me. I had no choice but to brace myself and step forward. Su Zheng's amused expression sent shivers down my spine, then my eyes immediately locked onto Zhang Yaxin's simple attire in the crowd. Just as Mr. Lin was about to introduce me, Zhang Yaxin stepped forward and said, with a face that bore 70% resemblance to Mother Lin, tears streaming down as she shouted loudly, "Mom and Dad, you've all been deceived by her. I am your real daughter." She rushed onto the stage, pointing at me and crying out, "Yang Shi, I treated you as my best sister. How could you steal my jade pendant just to live a wealthy life? And you went to great lengths to stop me from reuniting with our parents." To her surprise, Father and Mother Lin looked at her coldly, showing no reaction whatsoever. Zhang Yaxin curled her lips and pulled out the paternity test results again. "Mom, Dad, I'm the real heiress of the Lin family who was switched at birth. Lin Ziyu and Yang Shi are both imposters. They stole my life." Before she could finish speaking, Mrs. Lin slapped her across the face and shouted, "You disgrace! I could never give birth to a daughter like you." Zhang Yaxin covered her face, still trying to speak, but Mr. Lin raised his hand to cut her off. Mr. Lin forced a faint smile and said to the security guard, "This young lady isn't on the guest list." "How did security let her in?" The security guard immediately moved to drag Zhang Yaxin away. Zhang Yaxin wailed, sitting on the ground, "Mom, Dad, I'm your real daughter. Why are you treating me like this?" Su Zheng wanted to help, but his mother, who had just arrived, slapped him twice and dragged him away, covering his mouth. Father Lin quickly raised my hand and declared, "Please excuse the embarrassment. Some stray dog must have been barking nonsense." Lin Shi and Lin Ziyu are fraternal twins. She has been frail since childhood and was raised In the countryside, with a gentle temperament, which is how she unfortunately came to associate with some unsavory characters, everyone present acted as if nothing had happened and applauded for me. Zhang Yaxin was dragged away by security, her gaze at me as if laced with poison. In truth, I had long anticipated that Zhang Yaxin wouldn't give up so easily, so I hired a private investigator to tail her. Of course, I knew she was getting close to Su Zheng. If I hadn't deliberately allowed it, Zhang Yaxin wouldn't have been able to enter at all. The estate was filled with my trusted people. I wanted her to see with her own eyes who Lin's parents would ultimately choose. Halfway through the gathering, Su Zheng came over again to stir up trouble. He pointed at my nose and scolded, "Lin Shi, you're so scheming. Was this all your plan? Trying to make Yaxin back down? No way. I'll help her reclaim her place in the Lin family. And then you'll be nothing but stray dogs." Before I could respond, Lin Ziyu's voice rang out, "What right does a bastard like you have to challenge us? If you don't want to live peacefully as the young master of the Su family, I won't mind having your eldest brother throw you out." Su Zheng was furious but didn't dare to act out. Lin Ziyu is the most outstanding young person of her generation. Even Su's father has to be wary of her, let alone Su Zheng. After the banquet ended, in the Lin family's grand hall, Father Lin and Mother Lin sat on the sofa with furrowed brows. Zhang Yaxin knelt beside them, tearfully pleading, "Mom, Dad, it's all because of that wretched Yang Shi that we've been separated for so many years. Now that I'm back, can't you just send her away? My daughter has suffered so much outside. If she hadn't stolen my identity, our family would have been reunited long ago." I stood with my arms crossed, next to Lin Ziyu. Father Lin pointed at her angrily. "How could I have such a foolish daughter? Today was such an important occasion, and you came out to claim kinship. Do you want our Lin family to lose all face in our social circle?" Mother Lin still felt some pity for her and helped her up, pulling her close. "Yaxin, our biggest regret was not having more children. Now that you're back, our Lin family finally has 3 children." Zhang Yaxin immediately pushed Lin's mother away and pointed at me fiercely. "The Lin family can only have one daughter. Me, either they leave or I do." Lin's mother looked somewhat torn as she glanced at me and Lin Ziyu. "Xiaoxi, would you mind staying elsewhere for a few days? Yaxin just came back and isn't used to things yet. Once she cools down, I'll call you." "Okay," Lin Ziyu shrugged, ignoring Zhang Yaxin's provocation. Without another word, I immediately turned to pack my belongings. As I passed the study, I walked in holding the contract and spoke regretfully. "Dad, this is the contract that Mr. Smith from overseas specifically requested to sign with me last week, but I have to leave the Lin family today, and due to the public opinion, I can't attend. This contract will probably have to." Father Lin's expression immediately softened considerably. He pulled me to sit on the sofa and ordered, "Xiaoxi, you'll stay at home. Our Lin family is so big. How could we not have room for you? I knew you wouldn't disappoint me." "Dad, you've done very well this time. Mr. Smith is notoriously difficult to deal with. Even I've stumbled several times with him. Dad is confident leaving this collaboration to you." Zhang Yaxin was dumbfounded, even forgetting to cry. The barrage comments appeared at this moment. The supporting female lead spent 5 years infiltrating the Lin family's inner circle, and now she has many people within the Lin family. How could they really let her leave? The supporting female lead and the fake heiress have joined forces as a formidable duo. How could the true heiress, who returned midway, possibly stand a chance against them, whether in her past life or this one? The female lead has been too foolish, naively seeking emotional connections in a wealthy family where interests are the only universal currency. The butler, perceptive as ever, promptly retrieved my belongings. Zhang Yaxin's eyes darted around before she pointed at Lin Ziyu, wailing even louder, "Mom and Dad, it's all her fault. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't have been switched at birth. I could have stayed by your side and learned so much, and you wouldn't have looked down on me." Father Lin's expression changed instantly, and he scolded before Lin Ziyu could speak. "Nonsense, it was the nurse's mistake back then. Why blame her? Ziyu is the pillar of the Lin family. If we send her away, are you going to clean up the mess?" Zhang Yaxin knew there was no benefit in continuing this tantrum, so she could only pretend to be magnanimous and agree, just playing some petty tricks that aren't even worth mentioning. If it's not splashing water today, then it's losing files tomorrow. Last time she kidnapped me, I had to hold my anger back because of our parents. So later on, when she pretended to be pushed into the water by me, I actually held her head underwater until she choked and begged for mercy. When she pretended to be hit by me, I really slapped her without holding back. Gradually, Zhang Yaxin also realized that no one in the Lin family cared about her performance. I was counting the inventory in the mall. Zhang Yaxin's shrill voice rang out. I thought you had some respectable job at Lin's. Seems mom and dad don't value you much either. Otherwise, why would they have you selling shoes? I ignored her and continued checking the inventory. She snatched the delivery slip and tore it to shreds. Su Zheng followed behind her, sneering, take out every pair of shoes here for Yaxin to try on. I suppressed my anger and gave a meaningful glance to the salesperson beside me, who immediately greeted them warmly. Su Zheng pointed at me. We want her to serve us. The salesperson rolled her eyes. If you're not actually here to buy shoes, the exit is to your left. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Su Zheng slammed the table and shouted, do you know who my father is? Dare to treat me like this, and I'll make sure you can't work in this area anymore. Zhang Yaxin looked on with an air of amusement. The sales clerk forced a smile. Sir, our store doesn't sell to you. Congratulations, you've been blacklisted by our store. Su Zheng felt humiliated in front of everyone and immediately called the mall manager. Manager Yang, do you not want this mall to stay in business anymore? Soon, Manager Yang arrived in a rage, but just as he was about to scold the sales clerk, he spotted me standing nearby. He respectfully called out, President Lin, what brings you here in person? Zhang Yaxin and Su Zheng were both stunned. Su Zheng stammered, this mall belongs to you. I nodded and had security escort them out. The next day, I was awakened by the sound of ringing. Sister Cece quickly checked the trending topics, thinking it might be an issue with our own product. I snapped awake instantly, clicking on the trending hashtags, feuds among the wealthy, and real-life version of the fake heiress. Zhang Yaxin sat there crying, wearing a no-makeup look. I'm clearly the one who was switched at birth. I'm the biggest victim. My first 20 years of life were stolen by a fake heiress. Just when I thought it was finally over, my best friend actually took over my identity. It's bad enough that my parents favor Lin Ziyu, but why does even an imposter who stole my identity get more love than me? If you didn't want me, why did you give birth to me in the first place? Since I can't find justice in the Lin family, I hope netizens can help me get it back. Zhang Yaxin wept bitterly before the camera. The comment section exploded instantly, abandoning their own daughter for two people with no blood relation. Rich families are truly heartless. Lin Ziyu holds a very high position now, and rumors say she's the next heir to the Lin group. The fake heiress is thriving. If I were the real one, I'd be devastated too. Zhang Yaxin gained millions of followers in just one day. The comments section was uniformly filled with insults directed at me, with some passionate netizens even boycotting all products from the Lin group. In just one day, losses amounted to 30%. Zhang Yaxin smugly called me, Yang Shi, you're done for this time. If you kneel and beg me, maybe I'll throw you a bone, otherwise, just wait. I hung up the phone directly and went about my normal workday. The trending topic remained high on the hot search list. Clearly someone had paid for it. Some radical netizens even caused trouble at the company. It's shameless to seize another's place and pretend to be a phoenix. Lin Shi, get out of the Lin family. We demand justice for Yaxin. In the Lin family, Father Lin and Mother Lin were criticizing me. Zhang Yaxin, who happened to pass by, showed a smug expression and spoke hypocritically. Mom and Dad, don't bother yourselves for my sake. I know all the netizens are on my side now. Lin Shi, as long as you voluntarily leave the Lin family and kowtow to me 10 times, I'll forgive you. She didn't notice Mr. Lin's face had turned dark with anger. Just hand over your business operations to me from now on. I'm no worse than you, and I'll definitely take the company to new heights. When that happens, even that imposter Lin Ziyu will have to get lost. I couldn't help but laugh. Although I'm an orphan, I've worked hard over the years with the resources provided by the Lin family and graduated from a prestigious university. She dropped out of school after middle school and probably can't even understand financial statements. Zhang Yaxin pointed at Mr. and Mrs. Lin proudly and said, Mom, Dad, public opinion online is all on my side now. No matter how biased you are, it's useless. You must kick her out, or Lin Corporation's losses will only keep increasing. Mister, Lin slapped her to the ground and pointed at her nose, scolding, useless fool, do you know how much money you've cost the Lin family? I originally thought of keeping you around to learn from them, but now it's clear you don't belong in this household. Your plane ticket is already booked. You're flying to Paris tomorrow, and don't even think about coming back for the rest of your life. Zhang Yaxin completely broke down, sitting on the floor wailing and throwing a tantrum. Mom, Dad, how can you just stand by and watch the Lin family fall into outsiders' hands? I know you must be under their threat. It's fine, with the support of netizens now, I will definitely reclaim the real power for you. Only then did Lin Ziyu leisurely emerge from the study, looking down at her with a smile. Real power. If I hadn't stepped in to fix the Lin family's financial gaps back then, where would you be enjoying your privileged life now? I appreciate intelligent people, but unfortunately, you're too foolish. Everyone except Zhang Yaxin knew perfectly well that the majority shareholder of Lin Corporation was actually Lin Ziyu. That's why Mr. and Mrs. Lin didn't dare to offend her in the slightest. Zhang Yaxin suddenly flashed a fierce glare, grabbed the fruit knife from the table, and charged forward. Fortunately, I reacted swiftly and pulled Lin Ziyu out of harm's way. The bodyguard acted promptly and restrained Zhang Yaxin immediately. Zhang Yaxin protested resentfully. It's all your fault. All of this should have been mine. Why is the outcome still so terrible even after I got a second chance at life? I spoke coldly. Because you want everything. Love, family affection, money. You're too greedy. Zhang Yaxin, you could have lived a carefree life as a pampered parasite, but you chose to sacrifice others instead. You brought this upon yourself. You can't blame anyone else. Zhang Yaxin was ultimately sent away. That afternoon, Lin Group issued an announcement. MS. Zhang Yaxin has caused significant reputational damage to MS. Lin Shi, and hereby receives a lawyer's letter as a formal warning. It is reiterated that the Lin Group has only two young ladies, Lin Ziyu and Lin Shi. Lin Ziyu taught me a valuable lesson. Only by becoming irreplaceable can one firmly grasp everything they desire. The future lies in our own hands. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. I won 200 yuan in the lottery and decided to split it with my best friend to share the joy. She pressed me about how much I'd actually won. I jokingly said 5 million. To my surprise, she pursed her lips and complained, "You're not married or raising kids. What do you need so much money for? I'm divorced and raising my son alone, so I really need the money. How about you give me another 2 million? You can keep 500,000. That should be enough since you still earn 10,000 yuan a month anyway." My blood boiled with rage, and I kicked that mother and son out of my house that very day. But they were after my money. After forcing me to reveal my bank card password, they brutally murdered me. When I opened my eyes again, I had gone back to the day I won the lottery and decided to split the prize with my best friend. What was that good news you said you wanted to tell me? My best friend Tan Jing waved her hand in front of my face. Her son Xiao Jia looked at me impatiently. "Auntie, I'm hungry. Go buy me a lobster." I jolted awake, realizing I had actually been reborn. Looking at this mother and son pair before me, I could barely resist the urge to strangle them right then and there. In her previous life, Tan Jing was divorced after suffering domestic violence from her husband. To fight for custody of their child, she voluntarily left the marriage with nothing, feeling sorry that she couldn't find a job and had no money to support her child. I took her into my home under the pretext of hiring her as my nanny, paying her 4 yuan per month. But in reality, she often used taking care of her child as an excuse to do nothing at home, even sending me payment links for her lunch. She and I grew up together and have always been close, so I didn't mind much. On weekends when I had time, I would tidy up the room myself and take her and her son out for meals to improve their diet. Even when I won the lottery, my first thought was to share half with them, so she could also enjoy the joy of winning, but I never expected that both of them were utterly ungrateful wolves in sheep's clothing. To get all my prize money, they heartlessly murdered me. Afterward, they even pretended to be victims, evaded legal punishment, and lived freely with my money beyond the reach of the law. In this second life, I will never let them have their way again. I cleared my throat lightly, suppressing the overwhelming hatred in my eyes, and pretended to be in a dilemma. Actually, it's because my mom is coming to stay for a few days. I haven't seen her in a Long time, so you and Xiao Jia should move out temporarily during this period. Tan Jing immediately started shouting upon hearing this. Just tell your mom not to come. There are only 2 bedrooms in this house, and there's no place for her to stay, as if the house belonged to her. My expression turned cold. I haven't seen my mom in a long time. You should move out first. After she leaves, I'll bring you all back home. Tan Jing snorted coldly, her tone tinged with grievance. Where would I get the money to stay in a hotel? Why don't you book it for me? If your mom hadn't suddenly decided to come, I wouldn't have to waste this money. I was so angry I almost slapped her. I give you 4 every month, and you don't have to pay for any living expenses. Now you're telling me you have no money. Tan Jing became even more aggressive. Raising a child doesn't cost money. Do you think Xiao Jia's tuition fees just pay themselves? He's not my child. Why should I pay for his education? I had completely lost my patience. Since she refused to leave, I decided to take matters into my own hands and throw all their belongings out. Tan Jing let out a startled scream the moment I touched her things and immediately shoved me aside. Something felt off. Following her furtive gaze, I suddenly yanked open the drawer and spotted the bracelet I had thought I'd accidentally lost last month. Tan Jing avoided eye contact. I found this. Give it back to me now. Xiao Jia also came over to push me. Don't touch my mom's things. You're bad. I'll beat you up. Tan Jing still didn't want to openly confront me. She quickly pulled Xiao Jia behind her and spoke softly to me. We've been best friends for so many years. You can't abandon me now. If you kick me out, people will definitely criticize you behind your back. I'm only thinking of your reputation. I was so angry I almost laughed, pointing at the bracelet. I completely lost my temper. I'll ask you one more time. Did you steal this bracelet? No. Tan Jing burst into tears with a loud wail, endlessly pouring out her grievances while simultaneously guilt-tripping me into letting her continue living rent-free at my place. I ignored her and called the police directly. Even when faced with the police, she stubbornly refused to admit anything, until I produced the receipts, which completely broke her defenses. She packed her things and moved out of my place while crying uncontrollably. Xiao Jia's shifty eyes were fixed intently on me. A chill instantly ran through my entire body. In my past life, it was with this very gaze that Xiao Jia held a knife to my throat, forcing me to reveal my bank card password. When I refused to speak even at the risk of death, he truly began slicing my skin piece by piece with the blade. Tan Jing, to avoid drawing attention, even found a rag to stuff into my mouth. The pain was so intense I passed out several times, and to save my life, I had no choice but to beg for mercy repeatedly. But taking all my savings wasn't enough for them, fearing I might disrupt their carefree life. After striking it rich, they actually slit my throat with a knife. Afterward, my soul hovered in the air, watching as they worked together to chop up my body and flush it down the sewer. The extent of Xiao Jia's malice far exceeded my imagination, but this actually allows me to take full revenge without holding back. If such a little devil isn't punished early, he will undoubtedly grow up to become an even greater scourge. Once he and his mother move away, I'll contact journalists to help me stage a scene. Soon, the video of me leaving the prize center was widely hyped, with a bold headline, "Congratulations to the winner of the 200 million grand prize." That evening, Tan Jing organized a class reunion and had the class monitor extend an invitation to me. I agreed without hesitation. This banquet of treachery was one I absolutely had to attend. The moment I appeared, Tan Jing proactively linked arms with me to cozy up. She even picked out what looked like a very expensive necklace to give me. But I distinctly remembered seeing this exact item bought from her favorite live stream shopping channel, costing no more than 20 yuan total, yet from her lips it transformed into something worth 2,000 yuan. As she saw me off, she poured out her grievances. "Back when I was still married, you made quite a bit of money investing with my husband. Now that I'm divorced, I never thought our relationship would grow distant. I don't want to lose you as a good friend." The class monitor watched with envy, her tone dripping with sarcasm. "Xiao Jing is going through such a hard time and still thought to give you a gift, yet you're being so snobbish. Could it be that you had your eyes on her husband all along and weren't genuinely friends with Xiao Jing?" Tan Jing quickly spoke up for me. "Qingqing definitely isn't that kind of person. Although she used to be in frequent contact with my husband, she also helped me a lot during my divorce. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't have been able to leave so cleanly and smoothly. Her words immediately swayed our classmates, making them think I had ulterior motives, that I deliberately encouraged Tan Jing to divorce so I could take her place as the mistress. One by one, their gazes toward me changed. Tan Jing grew even more pleased with herself. Ching, although I'm penniless now, I still cherish our friendship. Would you be willing to take me in for a few days? I promise I'll repay you double once I get through this tough time. Faced with the chatter of those around us who didn't know the truth, I remained completely composed. Tan Jing, don't tell me you're suggesting I have designs on your husband, the one who's abusive and insisted you leave with nothing before he'd agree to divorce. My words immediately hit Tan Jing where it hurt, and her expression changed instantly. The class monitor smelled gossip and quickly pressed for details. Your husband actually committed domestic violence, Tan Jing flatly denied it. Ching, you're going too far. Even if you dislike me, you can't just spread rumors about me like that. I got divorced because of emotional incompatibility, not because of domestic violence. I raised an eyebrow and slapped down a police receipt. Did you forget that once when you were abused and called me for help, it was me who helped you call the police? But afterward, when the police were about to arrest your husband, you stopped them, saying your family couldn't survive without his income, otherwise you and Xiao Jia would starve. Tan Jing reached out to snatch the receipt and tear it up. With a twist of my wrist, I slipped it into the monitor's outstretched palm midway. She's been a fence-sitter since school days. I knew she wasn't genuinely trying to help Tan Jing oppose me, so I felt perfectly at ease handing her the receipt. That one, she'd inevitably help me blow things out of proportion. Sure enough, seeing the words, domestic violence, and emotional dispute written in black and white, the class monitor actually took some pleasure in her misfortune. Tan Jing, why didn't you tell your classmates about such a big matter earlier? If you had spoken up sooner, I would have definitely helped you call the police. Tan Jing was so ashamed and furious she wished she could die. She saw domestic violence as a stain on her life, something she wouldn't even talk about herself. No matter who asked, she would cover it up, saying it was due to a broken relationship in my past life. I had advised her not to voluntarily throw a fig leaf over that beast's actions. Being a victim of domestic violence is nothing to be ashamed of. It's the abuser who deserves to be condemned by everyone, yet she kept insisting that although her husband abused her, he was usually good to her. Now that they're divorced, she didn't want to take things too far, which is why she remained tight-lipped. I respected her decision, so I never gossiped about it to others. But I never expected her to use her ex-husband as an excuse to disgust me, just to pressure me into agreeing to let her move back in. Then don't blame me for exposing everything. Looking at the necklace she gave me, I offered to pay the full price. The class monitor picked up her phone and said, "It's not easy for you to raise a child alone now." Since Ching offered to pay, don't be shy, quickly open the order page and let Ching transfer the money to you. Tan Jing snatched her phone back immediately. No need, this is my gift to you. How could I take your money? I offered to pay 3 times the price. Tan Jing's heart skipped a beat. The moment her eyes darted, I knew she was trying to fool me out of my money with some random payment record. I let her rummage through while quietly turning on the compartment's projector and clicking the connect button. Tan Jing was immersed in editing photos when her finger accidentally tapped the confirm button. The next second, her purchase history appeared on the big screen. A jade green bracelet, 12 yuan and 80 cents, but under Tan Jing's miraculous Photoshop skills, the number instantly transformed into 2,200 yuan. She handed me her phone with restrained pride, showing me the exact amount. Thank you for being willing to help me like this. I'll definitely repay you in the future. Everyone in the private room burst into laughter uncontrollably. At first, Tan Jing didn't understand what was happening and kept finding ways to ask me for money, even trying to snatch my phone to transfer 6,000 yuan herself. But she quickly noticed something was off in the atmosphere. Following everyone's gaze, she finally saw everything on the big screen. Her face instantly flushed crimson with rage, and she flipped the table in fury. You fucking set me up. I shook my head amusedly. You're the one blinded by greed. Do I look like some fool to you? You think I'd pay 6,000 for trash you bought with 12 bucks? Tan Jing could no longer bear the ridicule from everyone. Covering her face, she ran away crying bitterly. I knew she would never let it go so easily. In her past life, just 5 million was enough to drive her to kill. Now, with the temptation of 200 million in this lifetime. How could she possibly give up so easily? Thinking of this, I took the initiative to call my mother, whom I hadn't contacted in years, inviting her to stay at my place for a while. I even openly admitted that I had won the lottery. No matter how she asked, I never admitted the exact amount. Early the next morning, my mom arrived at my place carrying bags of all sizes. As soon as she saw me, her face lit up with wrinkles from smiling. Ching ching, Mom always knew you'd make it big someday. I smiled without saying a word and warmly settled her into the room Tan Jing had previously stayed in. The harmonious atmosphere between mother and daughter lasted only half a day before my mom started subtly probing for the exact amount of my lottery winnings. I mysteriously hinted at Tan Jing's situation. My best friend found out about my lottery win and is now pestering me for money, so I don't dare reveal how much I actually won. Mom, you've got to help me get rid of her. My mom immediately agreed and even took the opportunity to curse Tan Jing a few times. In the afternoon, pretending to nap, I overheard my mom secretly calling my brother. With that video as evidence, my brother easily found out I'd won 200 million. My mom's eyes immediately lit up, and she started discussing with my brother how to spend the money. I buried my face deep in the cushion, laughing so hard my shoulders shook. In my past life, after Tan Jing personally killed me, my mother's first reaction wasn't to call the police and seek justice for me, but to search everywhere for my bank cards. Later, they confronted Tan Jing, threatening to report her to the police unless she coughed up 200,000 yuan, all of which was used to buy a house for my brother. My brother and sister-in-law moved into the spacious house, grinning from ear to ear every day. Meanwhile, my soul lingered in midair, never finding peace. I won't let them have an easy time in this lifetime either. The next day, my sister-in-law came to cozy up to me, bringing me a lot of gifts. Ching ching, I know you love crabs. These are specially bought hairy crabs, costing 50 yuan each. I didn't even buy them for your nephew when he wanted to eat them. My mother happily praised my sister-in-law for being generous and virtuous. The two of them took over the kitchen, determined to cook me a delicious meal. I lay contentedly on the sofa, pretending to answer a call from my boss at work, using a business trip as an excuse to be away for a few days. My mother looked worried, and I knew she was concerned that she wouldn't be able to control me while I was away. So, I simply promised her that after this trip, I would come clean about the bonus. My mother smiled and saw me off, already eagerly waiting for me to bring the money back so she could use it all to buy a house for my brother. My sister-in-law also began fantasizing about her imminent wealth, even posting several photos of luxury goods in her social media feed. Caption, "Wait for me, babies, I'll take you home soon." The comments section was filled with compliments from relatives, asking if my brother had struck it rich. My sister-in-law proudly showed off their wealth to them. Meanwhile, I took a screenshot and posted a WeChat moment visible only to Tan Jing. "I'll give all my bonus to my brother and sister-in-law. As long as she's happy, I'm happy. Family bonds are more important than anything." I went to the hotel to book a room and sleep. Within 3 days, I received an urgent call from my brother. As usual, he started yelling at me right away. "You bastard, what did you do to your sister-in-law? Let me tell you, she's pregnant with my little son. If anything happens to her, I'll make sure you pay with your life." I pretended to be innocent, widening my eyes. "I haven't been home. There are only 2 rooms at home. And since mom and sister-in-law came, I've been staying at a hotel. They haven't contacted me during this time." My brother choked up, cursed a few more times, then hung up the phone. Shortly after, the police came to my room and routinely asked about my recent whereabouts. I told them the truth to ease their suspicion. They finally decided to tell me the truth. It turns out my sister-in-law and my mom had been missing for a full day and night. My brother couldn't reach them, so he reported it to the police. I burst into tears anxiously. The police quickly calmed me down, advising me to stay safe during this time and contact them immediately if any clues emerged. I kept agreeing repeatedly, and after seeing the police off, I lay on the bed laughing and rolling around. Those 2 bastards, Tan Jing and Shao Jia, have finally made their move. Just thinking about all the suffering I endured now being repaid onto my sister-in-law and my mom makes me want to pop open a bottle of champagne to celebrate. But now is not the time for me to let my guard down. The next day, my brother blocked the entrance to my company, demanding an explanation from me. Before he could start shouting and pinning everything on me, I cried even louder than him. I'm just as worried about mom and sister-in-law's disappearance. But I can't just skip work. The police will figure something out, brother. Giving me a hard time won't help. Frustrated and furious, my brother had no choice but to abandon his plan of pressuring me with public opinion. He pulled me aside and started making meaningful faces at me. What's the use of just relying on the police? Hurry up and take out the prize money so I can find people to help search for mom and your sister-in-law. I blinked my eyes, looking utterly innocent. Bro, the little money I won probably isn't enough for you to spend on hiring people. After all, I actually only won 200 yuan. My brother impatiently clenched his fists. Cut the nonsense. I already know. You won 200 million. First, take out 1 million so I can go save them. The rest can be distributed by mom when she gets back. I sneered inwardly. I'm afraid with my mom's preference for sons over daughters, she'd split every penny she has to spend on my brother. Besides, it's me who won the lottery. Why does he think I'd share it with him? But I pretended to be shocked on the surface. Bro, who told you I won 200 million? My brother looked smug. There's already news online with a video of you claiming the 200 million prize. Don't take me for a fool. Hand over the money now. And if I'm in a good mood later, I might even give you a few thousand. Otherwise, I'll tell everyone you abandoned your own mother for money. Once the public opinion turns against you, you won't be able to spend a dime even if you're rich. I trembled fearfully, barely managing to squeeze out a few tears. But, brother, I really didn't win that much money. My brother didn't believe me at all and became even more furious. Are you going to give me the money or not? No matter how he pressed me, I remained clueless, insisting that I hadn't won 200 million. Finally losing patience, my brother threatened to make me pay and stormed off angrily. Back at the hotel, I laughed so hard I nearly doubled over. Just then, the police called, claiming there had been new developments in the investigation. By the time I arrived, I could already hear my brother wailing loudly in the morgue. I forced out a few tears myself and wept over my mother's body. My brother pushed me away, accusing me of causing the deaths of our mother and his wife. If it weren't for the police stopping him, he would have beaten me up like he used to. From the moment I was born, I was labeled a financial burden by my family. My family is a typical example of favoring sons over daughters. My father never allowed me to eat at the table, and he would beat and scold me relentlessly at the slightest displeasure. If it weren't for the neighbor aunt protecting me, I probably would have been beaten to death by him long ago. Meanwhile, my mother always stood by indifferently, ignoring all my pleas for help. My brother even encouraged school bullies to harass me. I was often beaten black and blue, and rumors were spread about my promiscuous private life, causing many relatives to avoid me like the plague. To this day, I still bear the scars from those brutal beatings, marks that will never fade in my lifetime. After completing 9 years of compulsory education, my family stopped funding my schooling. It was through my own hard work and part-time jobs that I managed to graduate from university. My mother and brother had initially intended to keep leeching off me, but after I repeatedly pleaded poverty and escalated the situation, they finally gave up and cut off contact with me. I never expected my mother to take the bait so easily this time. It's all her own fault for being too greedy for money. I just went along with her words. A woman can't be without her natal family, and she took it seriously, convinced that I had truly repented, and boldly moved into my house to live. The police initially suspected me too, but I had solid alibis. I'd been having dinner out with colleagues these past few nights. When my mother and sister-in-law went missing, the surveillance footage was my best alibi. Finally, they traced it all back to Tianjin. Just thinking about it makes me laugh. In my past life, after I died, no one even reported it to the police. All my relatives cared about was dividing the money. My mother had just gone missing, and my brother was already frantic with worry. They share such a deep mother-son bond. I'll always be the outsider. If Tianjin can't get money from my mother, she'll definitely come after me again. I've been spending all my time with colleagues lately, hardly ever alone. I'm waiting for my brother to give me an opportunity to drag him down with me. Sure enough, he didn't let me down. He went all out for 200 million, writing online rants to denounce me as a miser and an unfilial daughter, claiming that if I had just been willing to pay, our mother wouldn't have died an unnatural death. He he even hired a flood of internet trolls to tarnish my reputation. A large number of online spectators were emotionally stirred up and rushed to my account to criticize me. Many rational netizens pointed out the logical flaws in my brother's arguments, but their voices were ultimately drowned out in the sea of hired commentators' remarks. He exposed my address, inciting a group of people to smash my windows and cause disturbances at my workplace. My supervisor advised me to report it to the police. I knelt down and apologized to those people in front of everyone, begging them to let me go. I even offered to hand over the lottery ticket to make up for my mistake, allowing my brother to receive the full amount of my winnings. My brother was overjoyed, thinking his scheme had succeeded, and came to my house the same day demanding the money. I told him that I hadn't actually claimed the prize yet. My brother immediately got excited and said he could go claim the money himself. I recorded a video, handed the lottery ticket to my brother in person, and posted it online as proof, without adding any extra words. But I waited and waited, and there was no news of anything happening to my brother. Upon asking around, I found out that my brother had been busy handling the funeral arrangements for my mother and sister-in-law, which was why he hadn't had time to claim the prize. Thinking that I had finally avenged half of my past life's grievances, I couldn't help but drink too much at a colleague's gathering. By the end, I was staggering as I walked. My colleague offered to take me home. I shook my head and refused, getting into a taxi alone and giving the driver my new home address. But the scenery outside the window grew increasingly remote, suddenly sobering up. I realized this road was completely opposite to the direction of my home. I instinctively wanted to call the police, but the driver had already pulled over on a remote side road. He saw through my intention, got out of the car, and quickly moved to the back seat, pressing a knife against my neck as he threatened, "If you dare call the police, I'll make sure you die without a whole body." I begged for mercy repeatedly, watching helplessly as he snatched my phone away. Then he forced me to give him the password, unlocked the screen, found my brother in the contacts, and sent him a message: "Hand over 50 million in ransom, or we'll kill the hostage." My brother took one look at the message and immediately blocked me, unable to reach my brother. The man was so furious he smashed my phone. It was only then, by the faint light of the screen moments earlier, that I got a clear look at the man's face. It turns out to be Tan Jing's ex-husband, Wang Hu. This couple truly belongs together. Birds of a feather, both resort to kidnapping to extort money. The only question is whether Wang Hu is as ruthless as Tan Jing. Taking the money isn't enough, he might also plot murder for wealth. I cleared my throat, trying to appear calm. "Big brother, killing me won't get you any money, and you'll just end up with a murder charge for nothing. Why don't you let me go? I promise I won't call the police." Wang Hu grinned maliciously, and the next second his gaze fell on my heaving chest. "Since I can't get the money, then I might as well have some fun first." Suppressing my disgust, I shrank back. "Why did you kidnap me? I'm just an ordinary company employee. You're demanding 50 million right off the bat. My family couldn't possibly have that kind of money." Wang Hu licked his lips lewdly. "Don't try to fool me. Didn't Tan Jing and that little bastard Shao Jia target those two bitches precisely because of your 200 million? I'm not greedy. Give me 50 million to pay off my gambling debts, and I'll spare your life." I deliberately acted extremely shocked. "Are you saying Tan Jing killed my mom and sister-in-law?" Wang Hu's smile widened. "Yeah, wasn't she your bestie? You kindly took her in, snatched her from me. Never thought she'd kill for money, did you? Let me tell you, I saw right through that bitch. Only you thought she was useless and brought her home, treating her like royalty." Tears streamed down my face. "So it was me who got mom and sister-in-law killed. Too late to realize now. That bitch ran off long ago. Even the cops can't find where they're hiding. Only I know." No sooner had the words left his mouth than his grimy hand was already groping at my chest. Suppressing my disgust, I let out a piercing scream. Suddenly, deafening police sirens blared outside the window. Dozens of officers aimed their pistols at the car's interior. Wang Hu was so frightened that he immediately raised his hands to cover his head, without saying a word. The police officer opened the car door, dragged him out, and threw him to the ground. With a face full of shock, I was escorted by the police to step out of the car and rest. No one would have guessed that I had deliberately set up today's trap. After finding out Wang Hu was driving a taxi to earn money, seeing my brother again, his face was haggard, and beneath his tightly covered clothes, faint traces of blood-stained wounds could be glimpsed. It seemed he had already gone to claim the prize and found out that the amount I actually won was only 200 yuan, not 200 million. I couldn't hold back my laughter, my eyes filled with mockery. My brother was so angry he tried to hit me, but the police immediately detained him on charges of provoking trouble. I came to the police station specifically to visit Tan Jing this time. She was no longer the noble and elegant woman I once pampered. Her clothes were tattered, her hair disheveled, and she looked utterly dispirited compared to her former self, who murdered me and walked away with hundreds of thousands in savings. She was almost unrecognizable. I asked her if she had any regrets. For money, she didn't hesitate to kill her childhood best friend, ruining her own life. Tan Jing looked at me coldly, her lips suddenly curling into a sneer. The only thing I regret is falling into your trap and not killing you sooner. I also chuckled mockingly. Forget about past lives. The tens of thousands I spent on her can be considered as feeding a dog. For the sake of our past friendship, I'll give you some news. Shao Jia has also been found by the police, in a filthy, stinking ditch, already drowned. Tan Jing slammed the table violently, wishing she could tear me apart limb from limb, but I raised my hands with an innocent expression. Don't look at me like that. I'm not insane enough to kill someone with my own hands. I just want to watch you dogs bite each other and see everyone get their deserved punishment. To be honest, Shao Jia's death really took me by surprise. According to police analysis, Shao Jia likely panicked upon hearing the police sirens in the middle of the night, fled hastily, then slipped and accidentally fell into a filthy ditch, never to resurface. I really should be grateful to him and Tan Jing. Without their relentless cruelty from start to finish, I wouldn't have been able to deal with my mother and sister-in-law so easily. But my revenge isn't over yet. After leaving the police station, I bought a train ticket home. My brother is in prison, the child is being taken care of by relatives, and my father is lying paralyzed alone in bed. He looked at me with eyes full of venom, his mouth half open as he slurred curses, calling me a scourge. When I took a towel to wipe his face, he tried to spit at me. I wasn't angry at all. Instead, I became even more patient as I helped clean his body. Dad, do you know my brother gambled away millions in debt? I've investigated my brother. The reason he's so depressed is because there's no hope of repaying his debts, and the scars on his body were inflicted by the loan sharks. My father's eyes widened instantly. I lowered my voice and leaned closer to his ear. Since my brother can't repay the money, the loan sharks will take him away and chop off his limbs. Why don't you help him? After you die, let him sell your organs for money so he can keep living. My father looked at me in disbelief, about to scold me again. I smiled with exceptional sincerity. Didn't you love your precious son the most? What? Aren't you even willing to sacrifice your life for him? If you don't die, your dear son won't live much longer. The light in my father's eyes suddenly dimmed. Ignoring him, I went out alone to visit the neighbor aunt. By the time I returned, my father's corpse had already turned ice cold. The doctor's preliminary examination concluded it was suicide by medication. I didn't even prepare a funeral for him, just hastily cremated him and scattered his ashes directly into the river. At this point, everyone I wanted revenge against has finally paid their price. For the rest of my life, I'll focus on living my own life and becoming a better version of myself. After hearing the two stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time. Next time. Next time. Next time. Next time. Next time. Next time.